Hey, okay, so this is my website review for A Child's Place. Of course, this is Jono from Hubley. We help private schools, daycares, preschools, um, increase enrollment. We have kind of a whole enrollment marketing solution. But So we work with a lot of schools and so I'm just gonna kind of go through this website that you shared with us, um, and I'll just give you my just a few minutes here, but just my off the cuff um, thoughts, things that you could consider. So in general, your website looks, it's really like design wise, it's nice. What I mean by the art side of your website, really full, like a lot of colors. Obviously, you've got some branding that you're a child care center or a school, which is very obvious when you come here, which is good. Um, However, and by the way, I'll also say, just in general, the layout of your site, I have no issues with. It's there's um, What I really like is that you've got your call to action. You've got two of them: enroll today, schedule a tour today. Personally, I always like it. I like to keep things to one call to action, although that's arguable. You want to stay away from multiple. You don't want to be asking someone that's coming to your website. Obviously, your website, m- most importantly, the main purpose of your public website is for marketing, is to get new families in. You've got um, you've got an area for parents up here in the menu. That's obviously the priority of your homepage is to get new parents to schedule a tour. And although with the ultimate goal of getting the right families to enroll today is not the purpose of your website, right? Your website is there to get people to schedule a tour, because that is the next step. After a parent finds out you exist, the next step is contacting you and scheduling a tour to come in. It's very rare that a school would let somebody enroll without first scheduling a tour. And you might be also saying, hey, you might have a parent that's come in for a tour, and you're saying go to and you want them to enroll, so you say, go ahead, go to the website and click enroll today. However, um, that what that means is that your call to action real estate on your website is share you have two competing goals. Even though they're ultimately going to the same place, you have to think of every stage in the enrollment marketing process as each one has one specific goal, and you want to optimize each stage for that goal. Because let's say you're running ads, or you're doing a bunch of search engine optimization, and you're getting traffic, right? That's the top of the funnel, the traffic to get to the website. Every stage you want to keep, right? The traffic comes to the website, and then on the website you want them to opt in, right? And this is how every single business in the whole world works. You got traffic, and then you've got opt in, and then you've got conversion, which is sale. So if you're a shoe store, the traffic is people just walking in the mall past your store. When they opt in for a shoe store, that's someone walking in to the store. That's an opt in, right? They've opted to walk in your store. And a conversion is the sale of the pair of shoes. Now, for you, for a school, your traffic is going to come from, these days, it comes from online, whether it's a Google search or an ad online, whatever it is. That's the traffic. And then when they get to the website is there for the opt in stage, because people aren't buying something from your website. They're not making, a parent can't make an enrollment decision from your website. And obviously, I know that's obvious to you, but my point is that if you use that website, that opt-in stage, if you're sending people back to the opt-in stage to make the conversion, that can functionally work, but you're taking away the performance of the opt-in stage, because anything you put on your website that's competing with the goal of that stage even if it's the goal that you want them to get to later on, it's gonna take away from the performance of the goal from that opt-in stage, which is scheduling a tour. So what I would do is I would actually remove the enroll today call to action over here and stick with schedule a tour. Now, I would also what's in this any kind of web design offer suggestion I make that I offer is going to be less about your own personal branding choices. Branding doesn't really play a role in getting new students, much to uh, contrary to what's sort of general, popular opinion amongst schools. Branding doesn't really matter. Okay, nobody chooses one school over the other because they like how their website's branded, right? Like people make this really big decision to come to your school by coming into your school physically, meeting you, right? And like that's what sells the school, right? It's not the website. It's not what did your logo look like, you know. So branding isn't that important of a consideration with this kind of business in general. Branding is really important for like Coca-Cola, right? Biggest brand in the entire world. Can't couldn't imagine ever forgetting about Coca-Cola, right? However, they spend over $7 billion a year on branding because branding is is what is the most effective to get their customers to make a buying decision. But with you, you couldn't, a school in a local area, little small school trying to get, 20, 30, 50, even 200, whatever students, parents to enroll their child for on average $10,000 a year. I say on average across the U.S. and whatever. It's a totally different kind of buying process, buying decision making process, right? So branding matters for big multinational or even national or even regional, consumer products. Much less important. So I'll get back to the website here. Um, One thing that's really important here is to make your main call to action uh, what we call the primary color, the primary call to action color. So the thing is that schedule a tour is is the same color as your logo, which has a lot of the heart behind the school is red, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with your logo. I think it's great. My only issue that I have is that the call to action is kind of it's not prioritized, so that if somebody is, let's say, clicking on a Google ad or a Facebook ad or does a search for schools in your area, and they, like, you have to think about web design to like quickly communicate and get them to recognize something as soon as possible. You might have like 1 or 2 seconds with that person before they click off your site. And so it's kind of a numbers game. You want to get thousands of people to the website, and what you want to do is try to optimize the number of those visitors to your website that actually click on the main call to action. So you got to think like what's going to grab their attention really, really quickly. Now, if there's one way of doing that is making sure that the main goal, the main call to action on your site is the thing that pops out the most, right? So here's the and now I'm going to get into your design a little bit, because your design has a lot of bold colors all over the place. And while I like it and it looks nice, it the problem is when you have a lot of bold colors like this, it makes it hard for a human being to, when they're just clicking from an ad to a website and then whatever, to recognize and see the main goal that you want them to take, the main action that you want them to take. So, what I would suggest is, if you can, right, try to subdue the boldness of all the other colors. And you can do that actually really easily by just, like, as an example, this is, I don't want to get too technical with like web design or web development, but you could put an overlay on all the background images, right? Not the text, but everything that has these bold colors. You could put a very sort of translucent overlay over top of it with, like somebody that knows how to do web design or web development can go in there very quickly, a couple of clicks, a little bit of code, and boom, all of a sudden they're still there. It's still the same brand. It's still beautiful, but it's a little bit subdued, right? And then your call to action button, which again, you want to choose, you want that to be your most bold, most contrasted color, so that the eyes go right to it. When somebody clicks on an ad, they go right to that call to action, schedule a tour. So I would first think about subduing all of the background images, all the artwork, the bird, the trees in the background, even the logo a little bit. Make that a little bit more, give it a bit of a filter in front of it, so that the schedule a tour button, again, I would make that one big button, schedule a tour today, and also maybe make it a different color. A bold orange would probably work really well. Something that really, again, isn't overly, that where a color isn't already taking that attention, because your boldest color is the same color that's in your logo in the heart. Now, this is a very, very common mistake, and it's totally logical. It's like, you want to match everything to the brand, right? But the problem is, you want to just make sure that your call to action stands out more than anything, more than the logo. Your logo is not what's important here. When people come to and I would say another web design, critique would be, while I like your logo, it's huge, right? You've got it huge here. It's like bum, 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 a child's place, and it's great, and I get it. You're proud of it, and you want to, the thing is that it's taking all my attention. So I would lower it. I would make it smaller, maybe put it somewhere else. And instead of your logo being there, I would put the main value proposition, that you offer. Like, when people click on an ad and this goes for anybody that's clicking on any ad or going to anywhere to make any kind of buying decision, they want to know that they're in the right place. So clearly, if they're looking for a school, they're going to see that they're in the right place. But what compels people to want to take action is that you as easily and quickly as possible, they realize that you have a solution to their problem. So you want to think about the problem that they have. So as an example, a headline that we see that works really well with ads, we've generated tens of thousands of inquiries for schools. One of the most successful headlines we see is looking for the right school for your child, because that's what they're doing. That's their problem. Their problem is, I don't have a school for my child yet. So if you smack them in the face with the answer, or if you pull out that problem that is at the top of mind, it gets them to take action. So a landing page from an ad or what have you, you want to have you want to communicate first and foremost, like, hey, we have a solution to your problem. Stop looking you found the place, right? And then, of course, again, the call to action. So a couple of points there. The video is, you've got a nice video on there. I think video is great. My one concern about the video comes from another place. So what I did is I put your website through this website grader tool. It's just a free tool from it's called the website is website.grader.com. So I punched it in there, and this is the report that it came back with. So the biggest issue, so first of all, it says like your website is okay, not too shabby, but there's a couple of things that you could do to bump up your performance, and all of these things are going to help you get better search engine rankings. Okay, so so the biggest issue here is performance. Okay, so what does that mean? That means the actual performance of the page when people click on that link or type it in or whatever, how long it takes to load. All right, so ultimately, the page size is really big. There's a lot of page requests. That means your website is making a lot of server calls, which means there's more data, and again, I don't want to get too technical, but every web page is going to have server calls. You want to reduce that so that it speeds up the page load. And then it says the page speed here is 21.4 seconds. That's really long. And I noticed that when I opened up your website, it took a long time to load. And I think the main reason for that is the content on your website. I think that video, while I like the video, that video is making that page take a long time. So there's a couple of other really technical things, minified JavaScript and minified CSS. Again, things those are like sort of like the very small things that will help speed up 1% here, 1% there. But the image size, this is the videos and the images and everything that's loading onto the page. They're really big. They shouldn't be that big, and they don't need to be that big for a website. So if I was, you know, if I wanted to improve the website, I'm not talking about the design, which I already went through. I'm talking about the actual content and the performance, how fast it loads on the page. That's that's really, really critical. And by the way, so number one, if the page takes too long to load, you're going to lose. Let's say you're running an ad and you're spending money on Google ads or Facebook ads, or you've paid somebody money to do search engine optimization to get more traffic, to get more people landing on your website from Google or Facebook or what have you. You're paying for that traffic. You're now paying for that traffic. What's going to happen is if your page takes too long to load, they're just going to bounce. They're not going to stick around. So that's one issue. So you're gonna miss out on enrollment opportunities just because your page is taking too long to load. Number two, Google will punish you. Google is always trying to. What Google wants to do is serve up a list of websites that best meet the criteria of what someone was searching for. So they also want to show the best quality website. So Google goes through your site and they know your page. Like they do this analysis on every site. They're constantly crawling through every website on the internet, and they go through it and they go through it and they go through it. And if Google sees that your page is taking too long to load, they will lower you in the rankings because they want to put a higher perform. Like if everything else is equal, if you got two school websites that are going to be found in the same search, all the content is the same, everything is equally relevant to the search terms, but one has a slower page load, they won't serve it. Another thing too is um, the mobile design. Like you have a mobile design, your site does, it's responsive to the mobile display, which is good, and that's a basic, that's just like basics of websites today. They have to be, again, because most searches happen on mobile. That's what happens. Most traffic to your website will be from mobile now, but like not by a small degree. The vast majority of your traffic will be by mobile phone, right? Whether it's a Facebook ad or a Google search or whatever it is. And um, so you've got a mobile design, which is good. But one of the things that we're seeing here is that the tap targets, which again, I'm getting very specific and technical, but that is less mobile friendly, and Google sees that too. So if Google feels that, again, two websites, two schools, everything else is equal, if one is slightly better mobile design, they're gonna push that on mobile searches, right? So even if your website gets higher ranked on laptop or desktop searches for that display size, it might get a lower ranking on mobile searches. And obviously, mobile is the most important. Security, you got 10 out of 10, and that's great too. So that's nothing to say about that. But okay, so that's my thoughts on your website. Feel free to ask questions. And if, we're always here at Hubley to help, to help you if you're short on enrollment and you're not seeing the growth. Feel free to check us out at hubley.com and see what we do, and we're always happy to offer a free consultation and do a bit of a deep dive like this and into your website and everything else that affects your enrollment. So good luck with everything. Thanks for joining the group, and I hope this was helpful for you. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.